Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to the Monday Mission. I am happy to be with you again today. And today, what's going to be kind of fun is that I am absolutely going to share with you an epic fail and what I'm going to do to try and work with it. So if you've been following me on and off for the last couple of weeks, what you will know is that I have been working on a bunch of photos and videos for a new ad for my bridal showcases. Hey, Neil, nice that you could join us. So I'm not in my studio today because what I need to do is work on my computer to kind of show you what I have been doing. And I'm interested to give you all a look-see at what I've done. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to share with you my current bridal showcase ad. And I want you to know that what you're seeing is probably, I think, version 3, maybe version 4 of the development of the first bridal showcase ad. So I'm just going to take a second here and I'm going to share that with you. And then we're going to talk about it a little bit. And it's not that one. Hold on. I got to shift screens around a little bit. Okay. And here we are. So this is the first one that I did. And it's about 4 minutes, so just bear with me while we go through it because it's important to understand this versus the version of the one that I've just done. So here we go.
Meet the RoxAnne Lava signature. It's a super pointy, elongated flat, Mediterranean style, just like riding down the Amalfi Coast. If you look very closely at this particular one, you'll see that it's got a bunch of antique lace and beads. You can choose whatever's meaningful in terms of materials for you and personalize this shoe so that it embodies all the memories that you'd like to take down the aisle with you on your special day. Meet the RoxAnne Lava Classic. This almond toe style actually channels Audrey Hepburn as Holly Golightly in Breakfast at Tiffany's. In this particular combination of a silver metallic ribbon coupled with a black patent strap, this style is a classic. You can dress it up, you can dress it down, you can get many miles out of it long after your wedding. And when you wear this shoe, you will remember your day. So excited to bring to you the RoxAnne Lava heel. It's been a long time in the making. This particular style features a 2.5 inch Louis heel, and it's got a beautiful curve to it in the underside and in the back. And it's a nice solid heel, easy to stand and dance on. You could have this with a strap at the back, should you prefer. We can also do this in a wedge heel, and the beauty of this particular style is it's got the lightly pointed toe, which will help to elongate your whole look on your special day. Are you still searching for that very special gift to give to your bridal party? Well, boy, do I have a solution for you. Let me just pull it out of my bag of tricks. Meet the RoxAnne Lava Classic Fold. Yes, a folding shoe. You'll see that the heel is just tucked into this fantastic upper, which is created by me, hand knit, from chiffon ribbon. We can really use anything that you'd like for this upper. The key is that we're going to have the heel tucked in. And when we're ready for dancing, we've had enough of our heels. We're just going to pull that heel out, and voila, our dancing shoes are ready. It's got a flexible insole and outsole with a rubber heel. And this is the gift that keeps on giving, because we're just going to tuck that heel right back up to our upper, throw it back into our bag, and we have them ready for the next time we need our flats in a hurry. Now, if I have some DIY brides out there, why don't you think about having a unique experience with your bridal party and talk to me about arranging a RoxAnne Lava making event? You and your bridal party can come together with me and with my guidance and my help, make your own shoes for your special day.
Okay, so I'm back, and what I wanted to talk about is that, so that was a really, really very much bridal showcase oriented message. And that was the very first one. And then I had a second one that played off of that, but also with a very, very specific bridal message. Now, what I wanted to do, and if you've been following me, you'll know this, but I'll just repeat it so that in case you didn't know, you will understand. The next one that I'm making, that I'm in the midst of making, I wanted it to be more about shoes for every occasion, not just for the wedding. I wanted to broaden the horizons, and I wanted to broaden the sales pitch, because I want people to think about these shoes not just for a wedding day. And so it became more about every day with people who you care about and you love is a special day, and it is a special occasion. And the second thing that I wanted to do was I also wanted to kind of create a lifestyle. And so I went on this great photo shoot with friends of mine, and we got some really nice photos. And then I did a supplemental photo shoot in my backyard. I have a friend who did a music background for me. So this was also more personal to me in that first one. And even in my second one, the collaborator that I used to put the video together had chosen the music for me without, I didn't make a selection. He just picked what he thought would work well. And I have no problem with it. I loved it, but I wanted something that was more mine. So I've also been thinking about, we try to engage everybody with the five senses in terms of engaging them in our brand. And one of the things that a lot of times we don't really use that often is auditory. And auditory memory is something that's really, it goes deep into us. So if we can connect an auditory link with a fan or customer or potential customer with our brand, that's a really great way to make a slightly deeper connection, and maybe one that will stand out, help you stand out from the crowd. So the music that my friend made for me was based on the song, Nancy Sinatra's song, "These Boots Are Made for Walking." But he took that and translated it into something for me. So what I'm going to show you now is the commercial that I came up with for the last bridal showcase. And I want you to know it was a really rushed kind of thing. I was going back and forth well into the wee hours of the morning of the showcase with the guy who was putting my video together. And so I thought in the end, I went with what we're going to see. Now it is considerably shorter, only 2 minutes, whereas the last one was 4 minutes. So that is one thing to consider. But I want you to keep a careful eye out in the one that I'm going to show you for what the differences are between the one I've just shown you and this one. And then I'm going to tell you a story about it. So here we go. I'm going to show you the new one.
wedding is so much more than a day. It's the culmination of all the memories that have brought you here and a celebration of all the moments yet to come. So whether it's shopping with mom, brunch with your friends, walking down the aisle with your dad, or a cozy night in with your honey. Choose RoxAnne Lava shoes because every occasion is a special occasion.
Oops, sorry. Let me get rid of that. Okay. So, any thoughts on what's missing from that second one? And why I would be disappointed in it? Well, while you're thinking, let me tell you a story. So during our showcase, our host comes in and he talks to us about our business for a little bit. We do it through a Zoom meeting. So we go live on the air to talk to the people who are in the showcase. And I was prepared for what I thought he would ask me about. But his first question was, so why don't you tell the people about your shoes? That's what's missing. It hit me like a ton of bricks right there. All of those little inserts of me in that first one really talked about the shoe and what it was and painted a picture of the shoe for you and told you how that shoe could apply to the event that I was working with. And so that is seriously missing from the first go round on this one. I didn't sell. And I know a lot of times makers don't like to sell, but if you think about the first video that I showed you, the sell part was really just me talking about the shoe that I had made. It wasn't really me saying, buy this, buy this, buy this. I was just painting a picture. I was telling somebody how I made the shoe, what was special about that shoe, and how that shoe might apply to a wedding day. And so I think it's really important, first of all, for makers in particular, to get comfortable with talking about the items that they make. Again, you don't have to have a sales pitch in mind, but a lot of times if you just, whatever you're comfortable with, if it was something about the process that really interested you, if it was something about a particular tool you were using that you were jazzed about, if it was a particular material that you were using that you wanted to get excited, that you were excited about, whatever it is that excited you about what you make, if you tell the story of that to people, they'll get excited about it too. So that's the first thing that I think is important and is lacking in what I did. The other thing that is lacking is that in a lot of the, I would say in some of the photographs, I don't really feel like, I feel like the shoes get lost in the art of the photo. So that is a second thing to think about. Now, part of that is okay, and some of that is fine, because the idea was to give some cues to people, utilizing the shoes in unique ways in other sort of slice of life. For example, by using the shoe to hold the flowers on a plate in a table setting, that's the shoe in an unexpected way, but it is connecting it to perhaps the bridal dinner. So those cues are fine and they work well. I think that some of them needed to be sorted in a different way. And then the other thing that kind of happened is I felt like I didn't have enough variety of shots and of shoes. Now, I should back up just for a second and say that when I first envisioned putting together the photo, I thought about it in terms of the type of wedding you might have. So I was grouping images that would say sort of modern and contemporary, and then images that might say retro or vintage, and then images that might speak to traditional. So, in a way, I feel like I had those photos better because that's how I had been thinking about the shoot. But then as I was doing, I realized, nope, the type of wedding isn't really what we should talk about in terms of this idea of making every day a special day or special things that happen, or your wedding is far more than just this one day. So I decided that I would arrange it more about the extension events of a wedding. And I then was limited by what images I already had. So I had to use those. So then, you know, when I saw it all together, I realized that I don't really have all of the images that I need, nor am I featuring all of the shoes that I want to feature. So those things were both kind of issues. Another issue was how I communicated the sequence of the photos and the interspersing of the voiceovers to my video collaborator. And that too became a problem. And as we were communicating back and forth through emails, trying to get it done, I ended up having to renumber everything. Now, you may think that that sounds super simple, but again, I'm going to share a screen with you so that you can just, I'm going to share it and explain something to you. So here is the shared space with me. And what I want you to see is that when you number things, right? If you are numbering things in sequence, quite often what will happen is if you start with number 1 with only one single digit, then you get to 10, right? Well, 10 shows in sequence next to 1. So it's very important to, generally what I try to do is start with a 0. So it's 0, 0, 1. I'm sorry, it's 0, 1, 0, 2. I had done all of that. But you can see that with the imagery that I used for him, we went up to at least 34, and I think there's 35. So I had to add another 0 to get it all into the right range. And what I had done was I had done them in sequences. So I had 001A, 001B, 001C. And so for whatever reason, it made sense in my mind, but I don't think it made sense in his. So I had to convert all of that and then match the voiceovers with the image through the same number. And I can do that because they're two different file types. So lesson learned is really think about how to most easily communicate what you want from the people you are collaborating with, and take the time to really get it together. So this week, one of my things that I'm working on is that I'm going to expand this now. And I have, in that vein, have been creating some more photographs. So what you'll start to see down here at the bottom is that I'm adding a hostess slipper that I have, and I have a series of new photos that I've done with that, and I've done it, it's on 3 different backgrounds. Probably a little hard to see, but here you can see it's on this bright pink pillow, and it's got some fur and actually this scarf behind it. I also have used it with an authentic kimono that I have. So I now have a secondary background and some more variety. And then I also took it outside and started to work with it with a ceramic coffee carafe and a daffodil. The problem with some of these is that there's a lot of light and shadow, so I'm not sure exactly what I'm going to be able to do. Up here, you might recall just seeing this bright red here, that that was the part that was about with your honey, and it's a very bright red. And I had a few other things to put in there, but they weren't necessarily just about that particular slipper. So now I have built out more with that slipper as well, and I've got some more shots in some more spaces. I've also added a second slipper style there. So I noticed that I didn't have my foldable in sort of a right space, and there's some errant ones at the end that just don't fit as well. So I'm going to go back today and I'm going to take some more photos. And then what I'm going to do is I will sit in my backyard, and this time I am going to do those little interspersed segments with me talking about the shoes. And I'm going to use, not necessarily for all of them, all the bridal shoes. I will use different things and talk about the same, sort of the same things that I talked about, but in a very different way. And I'm going to get it across in a number of sort of, again, lifestyle moments. So we're still going to do shopping with our mom and brunch with our friends and walking down the aisle with our dad, but we're also going to talk about entertaining friends at home. And instead of a cozy night in, I think it's going to be chilling with your honey. So that could be a cozy night in, but it could also be, hanging out somewhere or going to the park. So some of the pictures from the park that I was in, or it might even be a cozy night in that has a number of different pictures of those slippers, but also would have the idea that we could also be doing like hanging out in the park. And so I may shift some things around. And these things will all start to do a number of things. One, it will connect the viewer, whoever it might be, with me personally. And that is one of the things that was really missing from this one, because even though you can hear me speaking, you don't get to see me and you don't get a sense of who I am. And I think that was a critical miss on the new version. I also think a critical miss on the new version was that even though I was invoking the lifestyle, I wasn't really expressing that lifestyle or those moments in terms of my shoes, only that they are special events that surround often a wedding or other parts of your life. So I didn't really complete the message. I didn't tell the story well, and I left out the part about me. And I think the other thing to say about the part about me, which is very important to understand, is to really think about the idea that you want to get across, and to really think about how your customer would think about themselves in that situation and try and paint that picture. So Neil, yeah, well, a lot of my shoes weren't really ever made for weddings. This is just a particular market that I've started to pursue, because they can be for weddings. And my message has always been that if you buy your shoes for your wedding, certain ones, like the Audrey Hepburn ones, they'll take you anywhere. I mean, I wear mine with jeans. I have a friend who has them that she wears for dancing when she goes to professional, like, charity events, and she's all dressed up and she wears those for dancing. So most of these shoes will take you anywhere, no matter what they are. It's just that, and this is perhaps a flaw for me in giving that message. But what the problem may be is that a lot of brides don't necessarily think of their wedding shoes as something they will wear again. Now, I think that what's really interesting about that is that there's a couple things in the bridal market, and yes, I think, Neil, you are correct. Deconstruction and analyzing it is what help them understand the picture. But I should also say, from my viewpoint, so a lot of times, the thing that lasts from a wedding are the photographs. And what I have found is that a lot of people are very interested in their memories as connected to those photographs. So, for example, you might purchase shoes, which will have their own section in your wedding photography very often, and you won't ever want to wear those again. Many people choose wedding gowns based on the fact that you wear it for one day, and the shoes and the accessories that go with it may be things that you wear only one day, and you may or may not pass them along to somebody else in your family, your kids, or somebody else. I'm wondering, and I'm interested to see if that will still be the case in terms of a post-pandemic world, because many people had their weddings canceled. Many people ended up wanting to plan weddings that weren't going to be big weddings and weren't going to be these big things that they had originally imagined. And so I'm wondering how this will work with the wedding trend as we move forward. And I don't really know. I have to say, I'm still really learning this market. I was an alternative type of bride. I had a very different relationship to wedding than many of my friends even have had. So the market to me is still not quite clear. But what is clear to me is that when I talk about what I'm making, and when I show you and explain to you and tell you to consider how this might work for you, I think it makes more sense to the bride. And I also would say that there is certainly, and has always been for a long time, among the bridal party, there have been a number of brides who have allowed their bridal party to choose, say, we're going to do this color, but you can choose, and I'd like you to have this length dress, but you can choose the one that you want. And this may be not such a big jump for them to think about it in terms of a shoe as also being something that they could choose, or a gift that they might give to their bridal party. And so those things, I think, are all there. It's making the message that is correct about it. And again, it's also making a connection to the person, because I think in terms of wedding things, you want to feel that the people you are working with, and this is true of any large event, you probably want to feel that the people you are working with are in tune with your vision. And I think that is very critical. Now, as I've been analyzing this, one of the things that I think works against me is that I do have a very particular aesthetic. with my shoes. And it is kind of a retro vintage aesthetic. And that is something that I think you either love or you don't love. And that is one of the things to kind of, for me to consider. I work off of, if you've studio, you all know that I work off retro slash vintage shoes, which are the same shapes as what we have today. That super point is out there today. The almond toe is out there today. I make square toes. They're out there today. I mean, those things are all out there today. But I have a particular aesthetic that I think is not necessarily for everyone. And I think perhaps the other issue with that is that, I'm making samples for the brides. So perhaps what I need to do is start to think about, well, how would I make a more contemporary one? How would I make a princess one? And I could go down that road. I will tell you all, though, because I'm always open to what I'm thinking about. And I am coming up now to, I guess, a full year of bridal showcases. So that's the online showcases. Utilizing marketing through bridal websites, which I showed you in a previous show. And an additional sort of 3 months of doing live bridal shows. And overall, this has not been a successful market for me. So right now I'm kind of at a crossroads and I'm thinking about, well, what should I do? In the first case, and everybody probably, if you've ever worked with me, you'll probably know this, and I might have talked about this before. It takes a person 7 times of seeing your brand before they recognize it. So the plus on the showcase, the bridal showcase, is that many, many brides come more than once. And particularly in these pandemic times, we've had a lot of repeat brides. So they've seen my message a number of times, and probably many of them have seen my message 7 times. So for brand awareness, I think that has probably helped. Has it helped for sales? Hasn't paid off yet. One of the things, though, that I'm considering is that, it's an investment. And one of the things that I told you all before was that what the biggest payoff has been in terms of this has been building my email list. And so, it's around the first of the month again, and I'm getting ready to send out my April newsletter. So, I'm going to be sending that to nearly 1,700 people. And when I started all of this a year and a half ago, I had 40 people on my list. And that's 1,700 people who are close to it, who are maintaining getting my newsletter. So all thumbs up, plus, very good there. But what I am considering now is, might it be better for me to think about investing some of this money into some print ads in quarterly bridal magazines, or a print ad in a quarterly bridal magazine? Or might it be more beneficial for me to buy some email lists for not necessarily brides, but for people who are in an older, more luxury demographic, who would be more into buying made-to-order shoes. So this is kind of where I'm at right now, and this is the thing that I'm sort of considering. And I don't know, but if I've ever talked about this before, but one thing that's very useful is to find a mentor. And, I've been in business for a long time. I've had a lot of making businesses. I have a lot of things going on in terms of that in my history. And it makes me know a lot, but it doesn't always make it easy for me to apply it to my own business. I've also talked with you all about being the solopreneur and not having a sounding board with other people that you work with. And you certainly have a network that you can develop that will have some ideas and some thoughts about that. But having a mentor who has some specialty in an area that, you know, you're considering might be a really great thing. And so for me, one of the things that my mentor helps me with is her background is in advertising. And we have a mentor meeting coming up next week. And so one of the things I'm going to talk with her about is whether or not that might be a road I should consider and go down. The other thing that I have also been thinking about and want to consider is that one social media stream that I have where I do have quite a bit of following is in terms of LinkedIn. And so I'm thinking about how I might be able to sort of generate some interest in my shoe business through LinkedIn, because mostly my LinkedIn people know me from my consulting activities and my my years as a full-time professor. So it's not that they wouldn't be interested in my shoes, but it's how do you create a professional commentary about your shoes? And, you know, part of what it is maybe they would be interested in listening or viewing this particular show. I might be able to put together a booklet or something that pulls them together. And I might also be able to consider how my clients in my consulting activities could best learn from my personal activities. And so there are a number of ways to think about moving forward with that. And that is sort of where I am today. And it's something that I think, you know, you really do want to consider. The last sort of piece of this that I always like to remind everybody about is that when you are endeavoring, particularly as a solo person, to produce something, it's most helpful if whatever that is that you are producing is something you can use across a multitude of things. So I'm going to take a second here. I'm going to go to my website and I'm going to show you the second video that I have. And I'm also, you might remember that I have a micro site for my wedding people. And that's RoxAnne Lava Bridal. So we're going to go there. Hopefully. And I'm going to show you, so this is the second commercial that I made. But here's what I wanted to say to you. So I made a book out of a physical book, which was put together on Shutterfly, out of my made to order journey. And here's how I put that together and I PDF'd it. I took me turning the pages. I did a screenshot of that with me turning the pages and voiceover. And I incorporated it into version 2 of the wedding. So let's just take a look at this one for a second and then talk about that.
Welcome to the wonderful world of RoxAnne Lava shoes, handmade to order and customized to fit your unique vision. Meet the RoxAnne Lava signature. It's a super pointy, elongated flat, Mediterranean style, just like riding down the Amalfi Coast. If you look very closely at this particular one, you'll see that it's got a bunch of antique lace and beads. You can choose whatever's meaningful in terms of materials for you and personalize this shoe so that it embodies all the memories that you'd like to take down the aisle with you on your special day. So excited to bring to you the RoxAnne Lava heel. It's been a long time in the making. This particular style features a 2.5 inch Louis heel, and it's got a beautiful curve to it in the underside and in the back. And it's a nice style heel, easy to stand and dance on. You could have this with a strap at the back, should you prefer. We can also do this in a wedge heel, and the beauty of this particular style is it's got the lightly pointed toe, which will help to elongate your whole look on your special day. Meet the RoxAnne Lava Classic. This almond toe style actually channels Audrey Hepburn as Holly Golightly in Breakfast at Tiffany. In this particular combination of a silver metallic ribbon coupled with a black patent strap, this style is a classic. You can dress it up, you can dress it down, you can get many miles out of it long after your wedding, and each time you wear this shoe, you will remember your special day. Are you still searching for that very special gift to give to your bridal party? Well, boy, do I have a solution for you. Let me just pull it out of my bag of tricks. Meet the RoxAnne Lava Classic Fold. Yes, a folding shoe. You'll see that the heel is just tucked into this fantastic upper, which is created by me, hand knit, from chiffon ribbon. We can really use anything that you'd like for this upper. The key is that we're going to have the heel tucked in. And when we're ready for dancing, we've had enough of our heels, we're just going to pull that heel out, and voila, our dancing shoes are ready. It's got a flexible insole and outsole with a rubber heel. And this is the gift that keeps on giving, because we're just going to tuck that heel right back up into our upper, throw it back into our bag, and we have them ready for the next time we need our flats in a hurry. Now, if I have some DIY brides out there, why don't you think about having a unique experience with your bridal party and talk to me about arranging a RoxAnne Lava making event? You and your bridal party can come together with me and with my guidance and my help, make your own shoes for your special day. So that's the end of this story, but let's work together to create your story with RoxAnne Lava shoes.
Okay. So you guys can see that you saw a lot of the same images from the first one, but it was put into a different format, the book. And the book gave me an idea about the story. And you see that I shifted up the sequence of inserting me in it, but those were repurposed from the first go round. So it's about trying to maximize all of the things that you have and utilizing them in such a way that when you create one promo piece, you can reinvent it to keep it fresh for a while. Because again, as a solo person, way too hard for you to constantly be creating promo when you also need to be creating product. So this is a way to make sure that you start with something, you work with the theme, you resort the theme, you add new in, you take some out, and you start to develop a way to make it all look new and feel fresh. But perhaps people who have known you will also feel connected to what's left from before. So these are all ways that that I have been working on to kind of make all of the pieces that I have to do as a solopreneur fit and be something that I can do and I can do well. Sometimes I have an epic fail like this first go at this video. But my plan, of course, as I've told you, is to take those things that were missing from the first two and add them in. And again, I'm going to do it with different visuals. So now I have all these new photos. So that's going to also allow me to update and refresh my photos on my website. And I did decide, so one of my favorite catalogs forever is the J. Peterman catalog. And I was thinking again about stories, etc., and telling stories and the lifestyle stories. And to me, that's a classic catalog that tells a story. And so the next level of this is that once I tell the story in the video, I will take that story and probably translate it into the descriptions that I have about various shoes on my website. And so, again, I'm creating something fresh and then repurposing what I've done in creating that something fresh to move into and across all of my media channels so that I'm maximizing the effort that I've put into creating all that new media and utilizing it effectively and efficiently so that I can get it done. So typically, what I do, those photos that you saw in the first two videos were photos from last spring. And obviously, I take photos periodically throughout the year, but I hadn't done another serious photo shoot, right, until this spring. So I would say it was about June of last year when I did that photo shoot, maybe May of last year. And so this year I did one in March. So thinking about how to do that is a really important thing because then you want the mileage, like I said, out of that time that you've been spending doing it. And the good news here, the really good news here, is that if you have a relatively new phone, the camera on that phone is probably really good and really good enough for you to actually get some very nice looking, very professional pieces. So I hope you found this useful. And again, I just kind of wanted to just recap what we talked about today. We talked about the fact that I have been prepping and working for this on this photo shoot quite a bit. I talked about that in a previous episode. I also talked to you all in that previous episode about collaborating with people, and that for this particular photo shoot, I was collaborating with a photographer friend of mine, that I had a musician who was doing some branded sound for me based on what is part of the story, the brand story. These boots are made for walking by Nancy Sinatra. I wanted to reach into that auditory to try and connect it with my brand. Okay, so that was trying to reach somebody on another one of the senses rather than just visual and tactile. So I really wanted to see if I could create that. I wanted to shift to a broader lifestyle statement, and I wanted to make sure that I included more than just the focus on the bridal day. And so my epic fail was that in the first version of the new commercial, I left out me. And so that was the biggest problem. So again, I'll be putting in those recorded visuals with me on camera talking about the different styles of the shoe. I will be adding more images of some of the shoes than the ones that you saw. And I will be adding some styles. And the other thing that had happened was that I was thinking about the video in a different way. I was going to show it in a different way than how I ended up showing it to reinforce the message. So that also means that I've got to go back and make more pieces to go into the video. And what I'm also then going to need to redo is I'm going to repurpose all of what I do so that I can utilize that in a website refresh, a store refresh, etc. And so that is a really important thing to do whenever we're creating media. The other thing that I shared with you was the business end of this. And is it now that I've been doing this about a year and a half, difficult, or should I keep going with the bridal group, or should I take the dollar investment and put it into a different group? And so that is something that I will be working on and considering as I move forward. The second piece is, how do I leverage my LinkedIn to kind of get the word out about my shoes? And so I really like it, Neil. Yes, you're talking about it. I had a dialogue in the first one, and I didn't have me at all in the first one. In the second one, I really didn't have a dialogue or put out information about it and bring the viewer into the video. And so that is the piece that's going to have to change. So interestingly enough, I'm going to do this outside again, like I did in the videos that you guys saw, in my backyard. And again, it is, strangely enough, a windy yet sunny day back there. So it's going to be interesting to see how that works. And I'm also going to sort of, I will have a similar outfit on, but not exactly the same. So I think it will be interesting to see how that works. And some of the information will also become updated, but I don't want to lose the important parts of those messages that I had last time. One final note just for you guys to know about me, because this is just the way that I work. And I talked about this also before. When I tend to do those videos, I don't work from a script. I have in my head 3 to 5 bullet points that I want to cover about that particular shoe. And I literally just record it and record it until I get a take that I like. It works better for me that way because I prefer to feel like I'm really speaking it and telling it rather than reading it off a prompter or glancing at notes to make sure that I got everything. So I think being natural is really important for you, and thinking about how you can do that as you are making this media, and whatever works for you is fine. Some people are great at reading off a script. Some people are not. Some people, are better off the cuff like me than other people. So whatever makes you comfortable in doing it is what you should do, as long as what the result is authentic and feels very much like you. So I hope you've enjoyed joining me this week, and I don't know if I'll have the final version to show you until the end of April. The next showcase is April 29th, and I don't know if my video collaborator will be able to get it to me much earlier than a couple of days before that. So you may have to wait for the debut of version 2. I will see you guys next week. In the meantime, enjoy and have a great week, and come back and we'll see you next time. Have a great day.